First Person Advisors is now a subsidiary of NFP, the fifth largest insurance broker in the world, combining local expertise with access to global capabilities and solutions. Learn more at firstpersonadvisors.com.
Now, from Wish TV, this is The Zone Extra.
Coming up on The Zone Extra, postseason action heats up and football enters the final week before sectionals. Find out how you can be a part of the show with our Play of the Week. The Zone Extra starts now.
Anthony Calhoun has been in a zone for more than 20 years now, from his tireless devotion to covering Indiana high school sports, to jumping in on the action with the big guys, the Colts, Pacers, and the Racers at the Brickyard. AC has put together a winning game plan for delivering the world of sports to Central Indiana.
As I mentioned, we're here for Teachers Treasures, and this organization is an organization that helps students who may not be able to afford school supplies. They help these teachers be able to buy the supplies to help these kids who can't afford them. And so over these years, we've helped raise over $1 million.
And when he's not on the airwaves, he's on the fairways, giving back. His annual golf tournament has raised more than $2 million for kids in need. Join me for a candid conversation with the charismatic, Emmy Award-winning Wish TV sports director Anthony Calhoun, an Indiana native with a passion for sports, a zest for life, and a love for Indiana, on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. I'm Gary Dick. Anthony Calhoun, or AC as most call him, hails from Evansville. He graduated from Bosse High School and Syracuse University back in the 1990s and got his first sports job there as an anchor reporter. AC made his way back to Indiana in 1998 when he joined Wish TV. Since then, he's made his mark hosting several highly rated sports shows, including Sports Locker, Countdown to Kickoff, and his Friday night coverage of Central Indiana high school sports on The Zone. But he has also made a name for himself in the community, giving back to help underserved communities and the less fortunate. And I'm pleased to be joined on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast by AC Anthony Calhoun. AC, great to be with you.
Gary, it's great to be with you, and thank you for having me on your podcasts. I watch from afar, my man, as far as on Twitter and social media, and you do just a wonderful job, and we learn a lot from the different guests you've had on over the years. So I'm honored, truly honored to be a part of this today.
Well, hey, the dog days of summer are beginning now. I think it used to be maybe this was kind of a downtime for sports guys like you. Is that the case anymore? It doesn't seem like things really slow down.
Well, due to unfortunately COVID-19, the NBA season stretched further than it has in recent years, obviously because of the pandemic. So usually after Father's Day, there's pretty much nothing going on besides, we got the Indians obviously here in town and you have Major League Baseball. But that's pretty much it. And so it's a little different this year with the NBA, not like the Pacers are playing, but just the fact that we still have the NBA going on. It still grabs our attention at Wish TV. But besides that, it's usually my downtime because we know we look at the NFL. NFL is, I believe, it's a sport that never has really any time off. They're always buzzing about something. But for the most part, we do get a little break here, late June to mid-August for the most part. Yeah.
How is your job, your role as a sports anchor? Yeah. And the coverage of sports really changed over the years. How has ESPN impacted that? The shows I mentioned, Sports Locker, The Zone, all the different shows you do. Has it changed really the content from a local sports standpoint?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing that's changed everything is just social media. I mean, this phone that you see right here, I mean, that, everyone's about getting the information out quickly, and that's how much things have changed. And so, here we are 10 years prior, it may be a down period, but now with how things are with social media, getting the information out first, want to be first, but you want to be right instead of being first. it's changed the whole landscape how we cover sports, and even from our shows, because it's competition every day when you think about it, because folks have this thing in their hand, this phone, so they're getting all their information from there first for the most part. So you got to be able to deliver. You got to give people what they want. If that means scores with our high school football stuff that we do in the fall, or breaking news. I mean, case in point, I'll tell you this: there was a story that I had. And I was actually on the golf course last week about the NFL Combine. I had that story ready to go. Unfortunately, I was on the golf course, so I couldn't really get it confirmed at the time. But it's just that sense of urgency. But I knew once I got off, I had to get the story out as soon as possible. So,
yeah. How is the Indy sports? And you grew up in Evansville, but you moved here 98, so 20 plus years ago. How has the Indianapolis sports scene changed in that time? It's changing a lot of
things, right? Man, so much. I mean, I remember when I first got here, I came along with Peyton Manning, and
package deal.
Package deal. That's right. Yeah, right. And that was just such a treat to be able to cover him for 14 years here in Indy. But it is totally different. I mean, I would say and I'm grateful for where I'm at Wish TV, because our owner truly believes in sports. But from a perspective, like a competitive perspective, as far as like the stations here in town, I mean, there was a time where every station had 6 to 9 people in their sports departments. That's not the case now. Now at Wish TV, we're grateful. We have 6 folks, in our department, but as you know, we're grinding. We're about localism, and so we're always trying our best to get out great sports coverage. But I would say that's changed as far as how sports has been covered in our town, for us from a station perspective. And then the other thing is, everyone has so many choices of where to find things, so it's actually gotten harder. Whereas, if people are going to tune you in or watch your station, you better give them a reason why. If they're going to follow you on social media, you better give them a reason why they need to follow you every day. So it's a total different ball game. The access to the players, I think it's pretty much about the same outside this past year, with the pandemic, but it's definitely harder than it was when I first came along.
You mentioned the golf course.
Yeah.
And you just had your annual AC golf outing, which has truly turned into one of the elite events in the entire state of Indiana.
Thank you.
And giving back in a big way, $350,000 to teachers' treasures. And I know that's important. You love the fun of doing it, but giving back is a big part of what you're about.
I tell you, Gary, so I try not to get emotional here. God bless my mom, who's no longer with us. She always instilled in me at a young age that, and it says, it's in the Bible, like, to whom much is given, much is required. And I've always tried to live my life to try to give back, whatever platform I have. But to have a platform that I've been given in Wish for over 20 years, I just can't go on and just go to work and just talk on TV and talk about the Colts, talk about the Pacers, and not do anything. I got to get back. And so when you hear a number like we heard past Monday of just how much we raised, 300,000 plus, it hits you at home, because I think of like the people who are there, like yourself. You were there, people who want to invest not just in me and and my vision, but in these kids' lives. And so when things are going bad for folks, or people are struggling, I think about the golf and I think, you know what? There are good people out there. There are people who want to make a difference. And that's what's so great about Indy. Like I said in my video that we posted after the event about, the recap of the golf event, I was like, this city continues to amaze me of how big its heart is for others. And when you think about what we had accomplished with this golf outing, and to know that these teachers who spend all their hard-earned money to be able to buy school supplies for kids who just cannot afford it, and we can just give them that freedom to go into a store at Teachers Treasures and pick whatever school supplies they want to give to a kid whose parents cannot afford it. I mean, I got chills now, as you see right here. I mean, it just hits you in the heart. It's kind of hard to like really let it sink in when you're in it. But then, when you think about the next days, or you hear from people, you sit back and you're like, wow, this is what it's really all about: making a difference, touching lives, and then pulling the person next to you to do the exact same thing. And that was the case at this golf outing this year. People like yourself, other celebrities, good friends of mine who've been blessed more than they can even ask or imagine financially, willing to give checks, to these kids. And I was saying this before we came on, a friend of mine who did not want his name mentioned, but, 20 minutes after the golf outing, sends me a text and says, "Hey, you know what? I want to give $10,000 to the event. Just keep it between us. I want to give $10,000. I mean, come on. That's Indy for you. That's this great city.
That's special. I know you do not do it for the accolades, but I think it's important to note that your efforts were recognized by, among others, the Indiana Sports Corporation with its Pathfinder Award.
Yeah.
That is no small recognition. Peyton Manning, Condoleezza Rice, Oscar Robertson, the list goes on and on. That had to be a special moment.
Thank you. That was a big day because, and we've been blessed both as to win Emmys and stuff like that. But that day was special because as you mentioned, the people. I mean, Condoleezza Rice, Tony Dungy, Peyton Manning, as you mentioned. And I know what type of impact and what kind of stamp they've had on this city. But that meant a lot because you're just doing it just to help others. You don't do it for those awards, but to be recognized like that in that company, then you're doing what your parents instilled in you at a young age to make a difference. But I tell you, man, people say, man, you got such a cool job. Like, if I didn't give back and help people, then my job is nothing. You got to give back. You got to help people. And because I look at it like this, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have someone helping me, maybe not financially, but just advice, mentorship, you name it. I mean, we all can be a help to someone. Yeah. We can.
You mentioned that VIP list in as a journalist, you keep that separation between the people you cover and content, but you've had the opportunity to establish relationships with some really great people who I assume have had an impact on your life.
Yeah.
And really, among them, you mentioned Tony Dungy, that relationship has to be very special.
Great. Just an awesome human being. And it's so funny because I talked to friends of mine who connected him for like the first time. And it's so funny. Everyone says, they go, you know what, man? He may be the nicest person I ever met in my life. Right. Hear it all the time. As a matter of fact, we just talked today on the phone. I need some mentorship today, and I had a chance to talk to Coach. And yeah, he is just a special guy, and he is the nicest person I've ever met, like everyone says. And one thing that I love about Coach is that he's so gentle with people. His patience. I mean, this guy is a Hall of Fame NFL coach and has patience. How about that one, right? Yeah. But Indy we were so blessed to have him here when we had him here. And every player that I've spoken to in the past, from Dallas Clark, Jeff Saturday, you name it, they talk about just the grace that Coach Dungy shows towards them and to people around him. And I remember, I'll take you back. This was early 2000s. I remember reading a magazine called Sports Spectrum, a Christian sports magazine. And I remember Coach Dungy being on the cover. And this is the honest God truth. And I told him, I remember reading it. I was like, man, it would be so great if this guy could be in Indy. I would love to cover this guy. And look what happened. Sorry for that. He ended up coming to Indy. And I tell him that story all the time. And look, the years he was here, that I got a chance to cover him, were just such a blessing. And, I look back in my career, having him, Peyton Manning, Reggie Miller at the time when he was here. Those are moments you never forget. You never will.
You've got a good relationship and friendship with Jim Nance.
Yeah.
Again, you talk about the nicest guys, the interactions, the few I've had with him, just a nice guy who really loves Indy.
Yeah, he loves Indy. And one thing I learned from him, and I've said this before, I learned from Jim Nance how to just treat people around him that work with him, like the grace he shows towards others. You talk to any of his audio, folks who do audio or the camera people or the director, the producer, they'll all tell you, man, this guy is special. He treats people with class. And it's interesting because everyone that I've interacted with, from him to Ernie Johnson to James Brown, they all have the same
same way.
Yeah. Characteristics about themselves. They just how they treat others. They treat them with people with respect. They don't look at themselves like, I'm in front of the camera, you're not in front of no, it's all about, hey, we're a team. Yeah. But Jim and I have been really, he is one of my close mentors, and he gives so much to our golf outing. Right. I mean, listen, I've been to his house to play.
Well, tell me about that. Because he's got a special backyard right at Pebble Beach. Man. He's got the par 3 back there. Right?
So he's got this par 3. So I'll show you in some little scoops. So years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, we had the opportunity to go out to Cypress Point to play the course that he's a member at. And it's like the number 2 course in America if you don't really follow the golf. If you do follow the golf, I'm like, whoa, this is unbelievable. Right. And so he has his par 3 a replica of the par 3 that he got married on at Pebble Beach and his beautiful wife, Courtney. And so it was great. Had a great time, had a chance to play that. But Jim, let me tell you how it got started. So the Final Four was here, and I believe it was in 2006. I think we had it in 2006. So I remember he saw me on television, and he comes up to me and he goes, young man, I just want to tell you something. He goes, you are extremely talented. You got a bright future, and I enjoyed watching you on the air last night. And I go, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, my mom and my dad, they've always taught me about, hey, this business is all about networking, okay? Mm-hmm. So you got to network. So I remember it was during the shoot around. You know, they always do that practice for a shoot around happen. I remember seeing him on Monday, okay? And I go to him, I said, hey, Jim, you know, Anthony Calhoun again. He goes, yes. I remember talking, I said, listen, I would love to see you some of my work. You know, just get some of your, you know, your critique on some of my work. I'll send you a DVD. Yeah. You know, we didn't have YouTube or like that. You know, I didn't really know anything about that. And so he goes, hey, send it to my assistant, Melissa, who's actually worked here in Indy. Okay. She's part of the whole track and field, the Indiana Sports Club time. And I said, he met her here when he's doing the Pan Am games. And I said, he said, hey, send it to her. And I'll give you a call back and I'll, reach out to you. Did that, sent it to him. And next thing, he responds back to me, relationship, boom, better than that, better than ever. And, I've been to Augusta with him. Yep. I've been to his charity events. I mean, he is a special, special guy. And the thing that I love about him is that what you see on TV, he's even better than that. He really is.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, AC. Yeah. Each week we do what we call the 2-minute drill.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. You've covered a lot of 2-minute drills in your career. Quick questions. You ready? Up for it?
I'll try it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Favorite way? You have a favorite way to relax?
Man, you know what? My favorite way to relax, I like listening to a lot of music around the house. Okay. And I go, do you want to elaborate? Or just anything. It could be from Christian music to Don't Kill Me. I like Justin Bieber. Okay. I like.
Do you have a favorite? If you had to pick one musician.
One musician, my all-time. I don't know. That's a tough one. I love all types of music. How about Chris Tomlinson? Christian.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. Favorite snack?
How about Grippos? My hometown.
Oh, Grippos. Very good. Yeah. Pet peeve. What kind of takes you off something?
Anybody knows me at work, I like things clean. Like I can't have a lot of mess around. So even sounds crazy, but even at work, like you go to my office at work, you'll say, man, does anybody work here? Same deal at the house. I can't have a lot of stuff around for a long time. Yeah.
Good. Oceans or mountains?
Oceans. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
If you had to pick a favorite spot on Earth, where would it be for you to be? Favorite spot?
I would say somewhere maybe on a golf course with some water in the background.
Okay, Pebble. Do you have a favorite course?
My favorite course is Cypress.
Okay, Cypress.
Yeah. Cypress, yeah.
Do you have a course you haven't played yet? Kind of a bucket list place you want to?
I like to play Augusta. I haven't played that. Listen, I played 9 of the top 10 courses in America. 9 of the top 10. Wow. Only course I'm missing is Augusta. And there was won't Jim Nance take you?
Jim Nance,
take me. When I meant I was Augusta with Jim, that means like I was at the Butler cabin, but I didn't play with Jim.
Right. So, yeah. Single class or multi-class basketball?
You know the answer. Single class. I mean, come on. Evansville, Boston, where I came from.
Yep.
Do you know the fun? You want to keep going?
No. Go.
Well, so you know the year when Damon Bailey, when he went to the championship, won it all. So they had played Evansville, Boston, my alma mater.
Yeah.
We had played them down in Terre Haute. And I tell Damon this all the time when I run into him. Like, listen, we had them beat. Evansville, Boston, we had them beat. And we're up pretty big. At the time, I believe there was no 3-point line back then. Yeah. All of a sudden, I felt like someone called from IHSA and said, if Damon Bailey doesn't win this game, somebody's in trouble. Now, if you look at the full picture, thank God Bailey won because it changed high school basketball here forever, nationally and everything else. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, final question on the 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
The ultimate
5-minute drill.
5 minute. Yeah, the 2-minute. Yeah. The ultimate dinner. If you had dinner at St. Elmo, 3 people you'd like to invite, either living or deceased, non-family, who would it be? 3 people.
3 people. Okay, so I think the first person would be President Obama. I'm gonna say Justin Timberlake as well because we would talk golf.
Yeah. Oh, he's a golfer, entertainer. He's got it all.
And the third person, you know what? I'll say Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
Put her at the table with us as well. I love to talk to her because you know what? Just what she's done, the life she's impacted, and how she gives back, her brain, how smart she is.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Okay, tell me the Obama story.
Well, the Obama story. So I had a chance to go. I'll never forget this. God bless his soul. Senator Lugar got me an opportunity to go to the inauguration in 2008.
Oh, wow.
Never, ever forget that. God bless him. And so following that, a couple years later, I was fortunate to be able to go to the Christmas party. And I just shook his hand. That was it. Didn't get a picture with him. But this is going to blow you away. So I get a call. He is going to be in my hometown of Evansville, Indiana.
Yep.
Which actually, I think it was at the Toyota plant he was going to be at. Right? This was like this was his first term, still a lot of parts first term. And I knew I missed these opportunities to be able to get a picture with him, right? And so they're telling me, they're like, hey, listen, you've been invited. You're from Evansville. You got a bright future. You get a chance to come down and meet the president, all right?
Ooh.
There's two situations that happen. I'm kind of flipping the stories. So this is the second. Well, let me do the first time. Sorry. The first time is this. He was running, okay, for office. He was going to be at Wish TV in the morning time. Guess what? I get off the air at 11:30. They said President Obama's going to be coming in. Mr. Obama's going to be coming in tomorrow morning on daybreak. He's going to be here. So if you want to show up, maybe they'll let you talk to him. We're going to shake his hand, whatever. Yeah. Guess what I decided to do? I did not want to get up at 6:30 to see Obama at the time, Mr. Obama. And so I come into work, all these pictures all up on these lockers of them with Obama. I'm like, oh my gosh. So that was the first time. I'm sorry. The second time, I have a chance to meet him. So they send me a letter. Hey, listen, you get a chance to meet President Obama. Okay, you got to be down in the Toyota Center, down in Evansville at a certain time, whatever. I committed to an event here that I was the MC for. That I was like, no, I got to commit to that. And I'm thinking like, listen, I need a picture with him. I'm not trying to shake his hand. I want a picture. And there's no way they're going to let us take pictures, right? You won't believe what happened. I did commit to my event, which I probably could have got out of knowing it was for the president. I committed to my event. They took pictures with Obama and everything. So, if Mr. Obama, President Obama, if you are listening, I'm still dying to get that picture with you.
You need a picture.
I need a picture. So how about that? Okay, sorry about that. Yep.
I love it. Hey, when we return, faith and family, very important to AC. We'll talk about why and learn a bit about growing up in Evansville as well. That's when the Business and Beyond podcast returns.
First Person Advisors is now a subsidiary of National Financial Partners, the fifth largest insurance broker and consultant in the world. Develop your total reward strategies all in one place with the combination of First Person's local expertise and NFP's global resources and integrated solutions. Learn more at firstpersonadvisors.com.
Welcome back to the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. AC Anthony Calhoun, Wish TV sports director, the main anchor there at Wish TV, a staple and sports TV here in Indiana. AC, you grew up, you're a Hoosier, right?
Yep.
You grew up in Evansville. What was growing up like in Southwest Indiana?
It was great for me. I had two great parents who really provided for us. I had a fun neighborhood. I played in the South Youth League baseball.
Okay.
And you'll get a pic of that. Played for UCT, United Commercial Travelers. And my cousin, Calbert Cheney, who played for IU, he played as well in the same league. And Calbert was so much bigger than everybody else. And he was a big lefty. He would have his arms up so high as a lefty. And he was awesome. We hated when he came to the plate. But great childhood as far as just the support from my family. Our family loves sports. And so we always, I was always involved with, really watching my brothers play basketball more than anything. They played for Evansville Bossy. And just good neighborhood, diverse neighborhood, which helped me just as far as understanding people from all backgrounds, ethnicity. And just so it was a wonderful childhood for me. It really was.
Faith's very important to you as well. Right?
Oh yeah, strong Christian. I know that I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for my faith in God and Him guiding me every step that I make. And my parents instilled that in me at a young age. We were always at church, and we were there not just for an hour. We were there for hours. A lot of people don't know about this about me, and I don't usually share it too much. But I used to sing in the choir.
Really?
I actually sang at the White House before, so Milan of the White House. So I won't do any singing here now, but our faith in our church, it did so much for our family, got us through so many things, and it got me through college. That's the main thing. Even today in my life today, having that faith, having that trust in God to help me get to where I need to be daily. I couldn't do it without it, and that's what's so great about Indy and about being in the Midwest. People, they respect you for your faith. They know faith is important, and so. There's a lot of things with my job that I know God has provided for me, opened up doors for me with interviews and things that I wouldn't be able to have if it weren't for Him, just being a part of my life and putting His hand and directing me where I need to go.
What I'm sure you have many memories of Evansville, but is there one kind of general memory when you think about growing up in Evansville, anything that pops into your mind?
Well, you will love this. So when I think about being in Evansville, things that come to my mind is watching my brother play basketball at Evansville Bossy. And traveling games with him. Like I was talking to a guy the other day about Michigan City Rogers. With Delray Brooks. I think Bossy was ranked 4th. Bossy was 5th in the country, and I think they were 4th at the time. Wow. This is like late 80s. And I remember just going with the family, getting in the car and driving to watch, Bossy play in a packed gym of 8,000 people. Yeah. So for me, those games of watching them on Tuesday nights, Tuesdays and Friday nights, where those games were, that's kind of what I remember growing up. And it really had anything to do with me. It was more about me, my brothers, and my sisters too. I remember a game for my sister, God bless her. They were playing against Jasper, and the officiating was so bad that the coach literally took the girls off the court.
Really?
And I remember this is a true story. I remember someone from Jasper saying, if you don't get those girls back on the court, you're going to hear from the IHSA out of Indianapolis, get them back on the court. And then, of course, the girls, they went back on the court. But that just, like class single A basketball. That's our roots. That's what it's all about, And so that's kind of my upbringing. That and also my love for doing what I do now. Yeah. Like at a young age, I always, after I realized I wasn't going to make any money playing sports, I was like, I knew I wanted to be a sportscaster. So I would always try to be like Brent Musburger.
Right. Did you practice?
Practice at home. Had the hanger. I remember I got a microphone that says CBS Sports for Christmas one year. I got that. And that's what I've always wanted to do, was to be on camera, talk about sports. And that just, and obviously God put me in that position to do that.
Yeah, well, college, Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
So not IU, you went to Syracuse, great broadcasting school out there. Is that what attracted
That's what did it. So, I was in Indianapolis, though, for a college fair. And I remember passing the sign, and it said Syracuse. And I remember talking to the guy, and I said, he goes, young man, what do you want to do? And I go, I said, Syracuse. He goes, yeah, that's us. He goes, what do you know about Syracuse? And I said, well, got a good basketball team. You guys have good basketball, got a big old dome. Yeah. And he's like, he goes, yep. He goes, what do you want to do? I said, hey, I'm going to be the next Brent Musburger. And he goes, well, where the best sportscasting school in the country is? And I go, where? No, I think I said IU, and I think I said Northwestern, I believe. This is years ago. Yeah. And he was like, right here, Syracuse. He started naming people. He's like, Dick Stockton. Yeah. A guy named Bob Costas. A guy named Marv Albert. He talked about Ted Koppel and all these guys. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, that's the school they went to.
Syracuse guys.
And so that's what got me there. So I remember me and my mom, we actually went out there. It was like a blizzard. And we checked out the school. And it was the only school I applied to. And as bad as my grades were, my SAT scores, it's a miracle. You talk about faith. Miracle that I got accepted to school. My mom, I remember her telling me, she's like, you sure you want to go to school here? When it was like a foot of snow.
Yeah. But you obviously that's where you wanted to go for. This whole broadcasting thing was what you wanted to do.
Gary, it's what I wanted to do. And here we are now, almost 25 years in this deal. And I tell young people this when I'm talking about their career paths. Like I used to make sacrifices. And I always tell young people this, like if you're at the Newhouse School, they actually have me a quote for me on the wall where I talk about sacrifices. You know, you got to make sacrifices to make it in this business. I know you're supposed to be like, well, that's not a big deal, but literally in this business, you have to, because sacrifices lead to major successes in our business. And so when I was in college, my friends and stuff, they will all go out on Friday nights and Saturdays. You know where I was? I was at the television station in Syracuse at the CBS station doing an internship. And so the day after I graduated, I was offered the number 3 position as a reporter right out of school. That's because of all that dedication, sacrificing. And then so I did that for a year and a half. And then there was an opportunity to come home to Wish. Because I mean, my dream, I was thinking about going to ESPN, things like that. But I want to go to a place where I can really make the mistakes and get grounded before I go to the next level. And there was opportunity. God, I love her to death. Sage Steele was leaving. And there was like 3 reporters left during that time.
Wow.
I think it was Dick Ray, Mark Patrick, and Sage. They all left. And the guy had told me, who hired me, a guy named Ted Lynn, who just retired from Wayne, who spent 40 years in the business. Man, I owe my career to that guy, right? He said, hey, stay close because I think there's going to be some openings coming up a year from now. There could possibly be. Well, he was right. Now, I didn't think I was going to be here for 20 plus years. I did not think that was going to happen, but obviously that did happen.
What is it about Indianapolis? You've got a lot of people want to come here as that stepping stone, and they end up staying forever.
Yeah. You know, one is, I'll just be honest. One is just the city for us, like the sports. You know, think about this. You know, the 13, 14 years I covered perhaps the greatest player to ever play the game in Peyton Manning. I mean, you know, we were so spoiled, guys. On Sunday nights, I used to, we would have Dallas Clark would be a part of my show, David Thornton, some guy named Bob Sanders. You guys remember that name? They would be on my show live on television at 11:30 at night. And every week we're talking about victories, wins. You know what I mean? Even though they get Super Bowls, but we're talking about wins. So it's definitely the sports scene. From the Indy 500 to the Pacers to the Colts, IU, Purdue, you name it. That's the number one reason. And the number 2, for most folks, the city. I mean, the city's a great place, great people. And then I guess from a mixture for me with 1 and 2, my family. Everyone, my brothers and sisters, Evansville nearby. And I'm so glad that I did stay here. Unfortunately, I lost my brother. I'll never forget that trip. My oldest brother passed away when I was coming back from a Colts game. It was the game actually when Adrian James got hurt against Kansas City. That game was a Thursday night game. I'll never forget that day. And, I can vision now just, flying back to Indy and literally getting in the car, driving home to be with my family. Like that doesn't happen if I'm in, Bristol, Connecticut, or I'm in LA or Chicago. That doesn't happen. My mom, God bless her, who passed away a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have those times with her of going to see her every weekend or being her with my dad or them coming out for games and stuff. That's not happening if I don't live, 2.5 hours away. So the proximity has been, it's one of the reasons why I've stayed here. And, and I got to say, Wish TV, as the number of roller coasters we have had in the time I've been there, there's some wonderful people there. And with our owner now, DeJuan McCoy, he is all about localism. I couldn't think of a better place to be. I really could.
Yeah. What's next for AC? I mean, from a coverage standpoint, you've got the college football playoff, national championship, NBA All-Star game, just an amazing string of events coming up. But as you think about what's next for AC.
Yeah. So what's next? So I forgot done talking to you. I got to go back to work. No, I tell you what, this summer, I'm going to take a little time and just kind of relax, going to play a little golf, going to make a little trip out to the Hamptons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, with my good buddy, Clark Kellogg. We're going to play a little golf out there. It's going to be fun. And then spend time with my family here more than anything, my brothers and sisters. And then get ready for this football season. I got to tell you, I'm excited about Carson Wentz and the Colts.
What are you hearing? Because, I thought it was, I was in the plus side on that, thinking that was a good move.
Yeah.
But you don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. Yeah. I feel good about it because, and this is not a knock against Phillip Rivers. I love Phillip Rivers too. But one thing we know about Carson Wentz can run.
Yep.
He can take off.
Some wheels.
So it changes things a lot from what we saw last year. And so that's one thing. But the biggest thing that I'm really excited about with him is that his relationship with Frank Reich. And then let's think about it. You got a boss or someone who truly believes in you. that changes how you think, your whole mentality on the field, the confidence it brings you. Their relationship alone, I think, sets him up to a new level. And he's got to get it down the field, but just having that going in is going to change everything. So listen, they have a hard schedule. Everyone's talking about, oh my God, they're great. That schedule, you think about it, you've got Seattle start the season at home. You've got the Rams at home as well. You got to go on the road to Tennessee. You got Miami to throw in there.
Got Julio Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Hello. And you're also looking at Tampa Bay. You got to go to Arizona on Christmas Day. So it's going to be a challenging schedule. But I would tell you this. If they can get through that schedule and go 10-6, maybe 11-5. Oh, I'm sorry. They can go 11-6, 17 games.
That's right, 17.
Or something like that. Then I don't know if I want to play them in the playoffs because to be able to go through that tough stretch, there's teams legit. So, but I'm excited about it. Carson, what a great treat he is for our city.
Yep, absolutely.
He's going to be all in. He's doing stuff, what he does now with his foundation. And I've been told he's going to do so much more here in Indy. And I've also was told this about him, is that he feels like this is the place for him. Like I've been told, like he and his family, like they love Indy. Like they like it here. And so, matter of fact, I've seen him at church. He goes to the same church I go to. I've seen him. Well, he's been there. I haven't seen him personally, but I know he's been there. And so they're definitely getting involved in the community.
Good. Well, I look forward to your coverage, AC, of the Colts, the Pacers, and beyond. And I really appreciate you taking the time to join us on the podcast and appreciate all you do for the community as well.
Thanks, man.
It's a real treat.
Thank you. Appreciate you. I thank the world about you and your family. And such a treat to have you play my golf outing a couple of weeks ago. And, you're always welcome. And, our partnership that we have with Wish TV is such a treat. We've been trying to get you over for a long time. At least I have.
You were a good man.
I was like, hey, you coming? And so when it came to fruition, it was pretty cool.
That was a good day. Well, I appreciate it, friend, very much. And thank you as well for joining us on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. It's a weekly conversation with achievers in business, sports, politics, entertainment, and beyond. And you can catch all of the episodes as well as Indiana Business News 24/7. All you have to do is go to InsideIndianaBusiness.com. I'm Gary Dick. We'll see you next time.